me here on set in Vegas is William Pierce, Democratic strategist, and Republican strategist Ford O'Connell, as well as Republican strategist Evan Siegfried back at home base. Good to see all of you guys. You know, it seems to me that much is being made of this, but perhaps people are overblowing it in that, you know, of course, you're running for something, and if you feel that it's very close, and if you feel that things were not done properly as they should have been, why wouldn't you reserve your right to go back and say, hey, I want this looked at?
Well, I agree with you. And look, the point that Donald Trump's raising is nothing new. It was raised in 1960, 2000, 2004, 2008 by both the McCain campaign, which I worked on, and the Clinton campaign. Look, fact, you have 4 million ineligible voters currently on the voter rolls, nearly 3 million voters who can actually vote in more than one state. You have 12 states that allow illegals to have driver's licenses, which they could conceivably use to vote, which, by the way, WikiLeaks points out. I'm not arguing that the Hillary Clinton campaign is rigging this election. What I am saying is the potential's there, and regardless of who wins this election, American voters have to keep their eye on the ball because these free and fair elections are really at stake.
And we deserve to have free and fair elections. Evan, I know that you're going to cite some studies that say, look, there's no problem with the process, but if it's close, I mean, Al Gore challenged it. Why shouldn't Donald Trump be able to?
Al Gore wasn't going out before the 2000 election and completely trying to delegitimize the entire process. This is unprecedented what Donald Trump is doing. 3 weeks before the election, he's going out and saying that the whole thing is a sham, it could be rigged, and if it even is, like he claims, how come we have GOP majorities in the House, Senate, state legislatures? In Texas, it actually is 254 separate election counties with 254 separate processes, and they all would have to be in collusion. Same within Florida, where it's 67 different counties. Loyola School of Law did a study that looked at every vote cast in America between 2000 and 2014. 31.
Evan, just because you don't flag something doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Let me make the following point, okay? If this, you can't rig a presidential election if it's a blowout, but if this is a really tight race, let me tell you, all you need is 250,000 votes in total, strategically placed across 4 or 5 battleground states, and guess what?
And the battleground states are run by Republicans. So are you saying there's an internal Republican conspiracy against Donald Trump?
Let me tell you something. No, let me tell you something. Explain to me why Democrats push at every turn to not allow us to purge the voter rolls so we can make them accurate. Why do they fight us on voter ID? Do you know that in this election in Kansas, illegal aliens, the Supreme Court said, can't actually vote in the election? Now, tell me why that's the case.
Can you explain to me why you're going on about illegal aliens when there are 31 instances in the past 14 years of any sort of voter fraud? There is no voter fraud.
Let me tell you something else. Now, let me tell you something else about that, Evan. Here's the deal. We audit less than 1 to 2% of the ballots cast in a presidential election, okay? So to tell me that the billions of votes that have been cast over the last 15 years have been audited for validity is nonsense, okay?
These are citizen,
that's the bottom line.
These are citizen-monitored
Evan,
voters.
I'm going to jump in and just say I don't understand why you would give up that right. I mean, you want to ensure a democratic process. Why would you just say, okay, I'm going to take whatever I'm handed if something is very close? Let me go to our Democratic strategist for your thoughts on all of this.
I just think it's very dangerous that what Donald Trump is saying 3 weeks before the election. It's a very important. We've been elected president since George Washington. This is a very important process. Just like Evan said, under 40 cases of voter fraud over in 20.
Yeah, but Al Gore did it too.
But this is the thing. More people last year were attacked by tigers than voter fraud last year. And basically just saying this early on is just completely dangerous. And it's just...
Look, I agree with you that it's a strategic miscalculation by Trump to raise it at this point, okay? But for people to say that there's only been 30 instances or you're more likely to get struck by lightning over a lifetime, let me tell you something. There's going to be 150 million votes roughly cast, okay? Being struck by lightning is 1 in 12,000 over someone's lifetime. That alone is 75 to 80,000 votes. You see where I'm going?
I'm seeing
the other thing I'd point out is that this guy, Donald Trump, is someone who is brutally honest, perhaps to a fault at times, in that he says exactly what he's thinking. And he also is not willing to concede something before he needs to concede it. So his point is, look, if it's tight, if it's close in certain states or certain counties, I deserve the right to ensure that it was a fair process.
And I respect that, but this is the thing, let the people vote.
But wait a second, he was asked the question. He had to answer it. Even if it's too early, he had to answer the question on stage last night.
He could have diffused it, by the way he answered it.
But he also, look, I understand why he did this, and the reason is to keep his base fired up. If you look at media bias, which we talk about all the time, the way the media crafts headlines, which stories they focus on, which polls, let me tell you something, you can depress voter turnout right there, and he knows that he has to keep his voters fired up all the way to Election Day because it's likely to be a very tight election, and if some of them stay home, guess what? Hillary Clinton is the 45th president.
So with that in mind, did he do exactly that? Moving on, I mean, when we assess his performance last night, did he keep his base? Did he rally his base? And did he influence anyone in the middle fours?
Yes, I think he actually, he influenced it. He rallied his base. Here's what he did. The smartest thing he did was with the never-Trumpers who don't like Donald Trump. He made the point about partial birth abortion and the Second Amendment. I don't know that he got any new voters. I don't know that he brought any female voters in, but he is up 7 with independents. Look at the latest Fox News poll. Only 80% of Republicans back him. If that number gets up to 90%, he is the next president of the United States.